Good evening, everyone. I'm Tahir Rao, your host, and welcome to my show Hyde Park. Today, in Canadian political history, there was a very important day today when Liberal Party of Canada and NDP announced an agreement to form a coalition government, and they assured them to complete their term till 2025. Generally, when in Canada there is a minority government, and of course whenever they have to have a vote of confidence, or if they have to pass any bill or any budget especially, so they have to seek the uh, opposition's supports, and they deal with one to one basis, on the case to case basis, bill to bill basis. They deal with that, and if they refuse to support any budget, especially budget, and any other bill, so it is considered a no confidence, and prime minister has to dissolve the assembly. And same it applies to provincial government also, where there is a minority government, because we don't need to have a majority government in certain countries, like I believe in the UK also, and Pakistan, India, there is a parliamentary democracy same, but you have to keep a majority government all the time. That's why they have a permanent. If there's any some political party is unable to win the majority seats, they have to make a coalition government. They have to have a party. They can also leave, but they officially join the government, and they are part and parcel of the government, and maybe sometimes they get ministries also. But in Canada, there is a traditional that even a minority government survive. And but it happened in a couple of times here in Canada also, where the opposition joined hand with the ruling party, and they decided to vote them or to support them permanently to complete their complete term of 4 years. So that was a historic day. Of course, different party, NDP and Liberal Party of Canada, they have their own agenda, they have their own platform, they have their own their manifesto and their priorities, but they agree to work on a common grounds, where they have they have similarities, not the differences but commonalities they find. And they, especially in from NDP point of view, they consider it's a big win, because their one of the demand was the pharmacare, universal pharmacare, and the dental care also, and yeah, this 10 days sick leave also. That was their demand. And of course they have a certain other things in platform, but it's not a full-fledged 100% coalition government. They are not getting any ministries, but they, wherever they have a difference, they can follow their agenda, and the similar to the traditional minority government, they can work with the other. They can seek support from other opposition parties also, Bloc Quebec or Conservative also. They might support in some of the bills. They don't need to support all the bills. But of course, different parties, people, Canada has a multi-party system. We have, and there are a lot of, the formal parties who is representing in assemblies, but there are a lot of other parties which are not part of the parliament, but they exist. They are registered as a political party, a federal party, provincial party also. So one of the newly created party, established party, is a Centrist Party of Canada. Uh, their leader is Dr. A.Q. Rana. They have their distinct view on certain part of their policies. Sometimes they are very critique of the both, or rather all three parties, conservative, liberal, and NDP, and sometimes they support the conservative point of view, especially for the climate change and the fuel also. So today we invited Dr. A.Q. Rana to give his opinion. So what he think about the agreement which is made today. Is it a good? It will bring a political stability in the country, or like, because in last election we spent 360 million, I think, and it was in a COVID, and a lot of people were criticizing that about wastage of money. And of course, if the minority government is there, so there is another election is also imminent within one year or the 2 years. So to avoid that thing, are going into elections, say they wanted to bring a political stability in the country. So welcome to my show, Dr. A.Q. Rana. So my introduction was a little bit long. So I asked a lot of questions which I'm supposed to get from you. So what do you think, Mr. Rana, about this agreement which is made in the parliament held today?
Thank you very much, Mr. Rao, for inviting me for this session to your show. It's always nice to have a discussion with you. So today was a very, surprising news this morning that the Liberal and Conservative, Liberal and NDP will be working together for till 2025. Right.
Mhm.
So we don't know the exact nature of this agreement or understanding. Different people are calling this different. I don't think it's a coalition, but it's some kind of understanding that the Liberal will deliver on national pharmacare and dental care and maybe some other demands of NDP, and then the NDP will work with them till 2025. So this
Okay.
has both sides, and I think we should be very fair when we analyze these things or assess these things. These things are of national importance, and they affect every single Canadian. The 2021 election um, was called to gain a majority by Liberal because they said that they could not function smoothly in the parliament because of the minority they gained in 2019. So that was the reason they called the election. And although NDP was already working with them, cooperating with them on most of the things,
Yeah.
however, they could not get the majority. And again, in 2021, they got a minority, and this comes in news now that these two parties have an understanding to work together. So this has both sides. Um, the balance of power would shift in one direction. So
Mhm.
before there were three opposition parties, main three opposition parties, including conservatives and also Bloc and then NDP. But now, because NDP and Liberal will work together, so the balance of power would shift in their favor, and Conservative and Bloc will be on the other side. And Bloc, you never know, sometimes they oppose, sometimes they support
Yeah.
Liberal. So that would have good as well as not so good sides.
So,
For
what are the
example,
good sides you think? The like as in party, do you think is it a good for political stability and bringing a certainty in the country? Because of course, like there is no harm to have a majority government. Trudeau was having a majority government. We shouldn't be fearing of any kind of majority government. Doesn't mean like if somebody, of course, everybody can have a majority government. There's a no barring on that, or there is no constitutional ban on that. Nobody can have no party can have a majority government. Like suppose if they were to have win majority government in 2021, that still he could he could pursue his agenda at least. With the NDP, there is a check and balance there also, and they will negotiate on that thing. So, do you think isn't a good thing?
yeah, there are good sides to it if you look at it. That this is the process will be smooth. There would be no more hurdles and like blocking the democratic process. Liberals have been saying that they could not deliver because of this, so they will have a chance to fulfill their promises. They would have obvious a smooth way to do things, whatever they promised.
Yeah.
Also, if you look at from the and there would be hopefully there'll be no election till 2025. Although I really doubt on this relation or this understanding will last 2025. I do have some doubts. It's good.
So, do you have
This
any like in past also there was some these coalitions were made. So, do it. What was that experiences? Were they successful, or they also broke within the in between or middle?
Yeah, I don't think that any of coalition is indefinite or kind of categorical. It they do go through ups and downs and could break
Mhm.
anytime. If you look from the personal angle, it's good for Justin Trudeau because he now can stay as a prime minister till 2025, and I think end of 2025, because it should be 4 years, right? October
Mhm.
2025 is good for Mr. Singh also, because if there was an election, there was a chance of leadership review if his party does not perform well. So now he has a smooth way to stay as a leader till
Mhm.
2025 October. So personally, is good for them. The For country in terms of having no election, having smooth operation and stability, this is the good side. But on the other side, the balance of power shifting in one direction, when it happens, then the fear of accountability
Mhm.
becomes less, and therefore there is a risk of lack of transparency in such situation.
Mhm. So, what do you think about the two promises which Trudeau made, for universal pharmacare and dental care? So, where they will get that money and how there it's going to work? What is your opinion on that one? Central Party of Canada. What is your belief in that? Because conservative have their own views. They don't believe in spending and the welfare. They believe in like trickle down effect, giving up more facilities to the investors, to the capitalists, and then they will set up a factory, and then you will get a job, and then you will give a bonus and all that thing. So they believe in that theory.
Yeah. With respect to the universal pharmacare and universal dental care, I have serious doubts if liberals will be able to deliver this, because our healthcare is already on the brink of collapsing. Sometime it seems that the expense is rising. The Our aging population is increasing more, so seniors are increasing in number. So we have difficulty affording our healthcare.
Mhm.
So how we will add pharmacare and dental care? I think it seems really difficult. And some of these,
It's a,
provincial
like over ambitious. Uh, so it's a target
Right.
promise.
We are already overspending. Our we are in deficit. Our debt is increasing. So it's possible that Mr. Trudeau is using this as as a promise, which will take him as long as he can continue his government. And at the end of the day, if he does not, he could keep on saying that things are in pipeline, they're working, and eventually he will enjoy a few more years of being in government. And if they are not able to deliver, eventually this coalition may break. But there is also, if you look at it, uh, the overspending will increase, the inflation will increase. This translates into increased taxes. So if you look at it from the angle of Western Canada, both of these parties have an agenda against the traditional resources of energy, against oil and gas. There has been no significant development on the Trans Mountain pipeline. Our oil and gas industry is going down and down with the NDP's agenda of shutting down our oil and gas.
Dr. Anna, I have one question related to pharmacare before we go to the climate change and fuels. So you're also a practicing doctor, and this is a provincial matter, healthcare. So how they are going to deliver? They are providing a funding to the provinces, or if they have a directly billing, or how it will work? What will be the mechanism for that dental and pharmacare?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure the like liberals are saying they will do this. They have some kind of mechanism, like we have transfer payments for the healthcare. So would they develop another way of doing transfer payments to the provinces for pharmacare and dental care,
Mm-hmm.
where that money would come from? But it's really, this is a question which should be asked to the liberal government, how they would do this.
Mhm.
To me, it's it's a good thing to have. I'm happy that Canadians, including myself, everyone, you, me, and everyone will have free pharmacare, dental care. I mean, it's an excellent idea, but is it a wishful thinking? Can we really do it, or is it just a election promise which not necessarily will be fulfilled?
Okay, so going to the discussion, we are talking about the climate change. So both parties are very they are advocate of the climate change initiatives, the electric vehicles, and uh, just discouraging the fossil fuels and all that thing. So what do you think about that? Is it feasible for that? Because Canada has a lot of resources, and is it a good time to move away from there, or still we have the potential to explore it, and we can without harming the climate? So because climate is a big issues.
Right. So, of course, climate change is a real issue. It's a very big threat to our planet. But climate change is a global issue.
Yes.
It should have global solution. Climate
Mhm.
change is not a Canadian issue, or Canada alone can't solve this problem. The Canadian share in greenhouse gas emissions is 1.5%. Of course, we also want that every vehicle should be electric. There should be 0% greenhouse gas emissions from
Yeah, so there is
anywhere
a
in the
it
world.
is a global issue.
Every
There is a Paris Agreement also, and
Right.
every country is doing, like even like Saudi Arabia, they have ample sources of oil and gas, but still they are converting into smart and the renewable energy, solar power, and all that things are electric. So what's harm into that?
Yeah. So the if you look at globally, about 27% of the greenhouse gas emission is from China, 15% is from US, about 7% is from India, and about 5-6% is from Russia and many other countries. So about 1.5% is from Canada, right? So
Mhm.
yes, the main effort has to come from the big polluters. That's one thing.
Yeah, of
If
course,
they are
of course.
not doing effective or meaningful change, the Canada alone cannot do cannot change. We can, maybe if we all go on 100% electric vehicles, maybe from 1.5 we can come down to 1.4%. But would it be effective at a global level? So this
True.
effort has to be global, right? The countries like, and also there is a lot of development happening in Africa and Asia. The
Mhm.
population growth in Africa, population growth in Asia, in India, right? They all need energy, and at this point, the renewable resources are not sustainable. So the transition cannot happen overnight. It will still need decades. And if you compare the natural gas and oil, natural gas has 50% less greenhouse gas emissions as compared to oil. So the world does need oil and gas for many decades till the transition takes place. And different companies and like people themselves, they are transitioning. This would transition gradually, but
Mhm.
we have to, if for example, we have 162 billion barrel of oil in
Mhm.
Canada, and we have about 1383 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. So if
Mhm.
we shut down our oil and gas industry, would the world stop using oil and gas? No. The answer is no. The other countries which are producing oil and gas under much less environmental condition, they will overproduce, and for globally it will be even harmful. So we have to use a very rational approach. That is the reason we support our oil and gas industry.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mr. Rana, another question, rather, it was be, I will ask the question again regarding the funding of pharmacare and dental care. And NDP always fight for the masses, for the poor, and they firm believe on their one of the election slogan was tax the rich. and they were asking that somebody has a wealth of 30 million and above should be tax for 2% wealth tax or something else, or anything like their rich people should pay their fair share. And especially this campaign is led by Bernie Sanders in US also, and he's very critique. And if you see the taxes, the profit growth of the big companies during pandemic, the joint multinational companies and their payout to their CEOs and all that thing, and the other side they are like increasing the prices of their products in the name of inflation. uh, so what do you think about that? So shouldn't we tax the rich and get a money from there, and then we can support whether it's pharma care, whether it's dental care, whether it's like upgrading of our healthcare system? What do you think about that?
Uh, See, we live in a country which is very rich in natural resources.
Hmm.
If we develop our natural resources and
Hmm.
provide our energy to world which needs us, I think we can have enough of income already. Our oil and gas industry, energy industry is contributing more than 10% to our GDP. I think
Hmm.
if we develop that, we can support probably pharma care, dental care, and even education
Hmm.
for post secondary education also.
Hmm.
So Canadians are already paying. We are paying higher taxes already. Uh,
Yes.
so uh, I I'm not sure if all parties would agree on any of the consensus that the taxes should be further increased.
For the rich
So
people, for the rich people, actually problem is not the money, problem is not the resources available in any country, even
mm,
like we're not talking about even Canada, the worldwide individual country, but the distribution, equitable distribution of wealth is a problem. Equitable distribution of resources is a problem. Like one side richer are getting richer and poorer are getting poorer. So that's the challenge. So what do you think about in Canadian scenario, how we should structure our tax system?
Yeah, our party supports growing our natural resources and increasing our income that way than taxing the people, because hardworking people are already paying a lot of taxes, right?
Hmm.
However, if there's a consensus in future, if our party is in parliament and there's a consensus of all the parties, then we will definitely look at this suggestion favorably. But at this point, we are not in support of increasing taxes. All you know, it,
Even at a richer
in
level?
for any level.
Okay.
Indeed, the manifesto of our party at this point is lowering
Hmm.
taxes by cutting and reviewing foreign aid, by reviewing the subsidies, by supporting our natural resources, also cutting down all the extra, wage and spending by the government.
So another issue is coming up right now because when this Russia and Ukraine war started, and NATO is of course Canada is a part of NATO. So our budget defense spending is uh, less than 2%, which is a minimum mandate given by NATO to each country. So we are spending less compared to the other NATO countries. And I believe that Trudeau made a promise to increase the defense spending. What do you think about that?
We are a large country with a very small population, and we are very rich in these natural resources. So um, we could be an easy target for any powerful country, right?
Mhm.
So we have to contribute our fair share to NATO, whatever we have. I don't think we have much option or much choice in this regard. However, at the world stage, I think we should be more peacekeeping, more neutral. We should try to play our part in not supporting the wars, but supporting the peace.
In during this ongoing Russia and Ukraine war, uh, Canada is taking a lead, and Mr. Trudeau already visited a lot of countries in Europe and NATO countries. So, is it what do you think about that? Shouldn't we be neutral in this role, in this war, and try to bring in a peace, or to be a new, like not supporting any country? Or are we bound by NATO to support the NATO countries and stand against Russia? So what is your point of view on that one, and what is the
Uh,
Central Party
yeah,
stand?
we are part of NATO, and we have to work out with our allies, right? So, whatever our allies decide collectively, we don't have any option in this regard. We have to support it. But at the same time, if you look from different angle, so it's many U.S. experts. I was hearing their interviews. They were of the concern that Ukraine joining NATO would not benefit NATO or North America, but
Mhm,
would benefit Ukraine. And
mhm,
the Russia, of course, is a very powerful country, and they did not want the NATO forces at their border. So this was a war in which Russia wanted Ukraine to stay neutral, right? That
mhm,
probably was the main cause of the conflict.
mhm. Yeah, of course, like when there is a war already started, we are bound to the agreement with NATO, and we don't have any option to stay away. But that war could be avoided with the negotiation or with the dialogue. So what should we have done, which we failed to do that? Could Canada take a lead in that scenario, or we don't have, we, like, as a being a like small country, and we don't have any that much clout, international clout, or the leadership, or is it a lack of leadership at Liberal Party at the Prime Minister level?
No, I think Canada at the world stage is not as effective as other bigger countries.
Mhm,
So yes, we should have promoted dialogue, and not only us, the other powers should have sit down when the attack was imminent. I think then. There should have been more focus on negotiation, or at the end, if Ukraine agrees to some of the Russian demands to stop the war, if that was done initially, then all this loss of human life would have been prevented.
would have been
I
avoided.
think it's probably either the Russia was underestimated, or people were not people were thinking that there may not be a war. At the end of day, you know, the real damage is loss of the human life. That should have been avoided at every cost. Even if Ukraine could stay neutral, to prevent this loss. So I think that was worth.
Yeah, but a lot of war analysts and strategists are saying that uh, US, they deliberately allow them to attack, that they wanted to drag Russia into a war. And right now, I don't know. So we are not looking at the other side of the media, but the media report Russia is exposed. They couldn't like capture like effectively Ukraine, and they are getting a more resistance, and they are suffering a loss. That could be another strategy by the allied forces.
Yeah, I doubt if US wanted this war to take place, or NATO or allies. I don't believe that. The I also hope that the war ends, and Ukrainians are able to defend themselves. We are standing with them. Of course, they are victim of aggression. We are fully in support of Ukrainians. But I have doubt if this was the approach to destroy Russia deliberately. I don't know. There are many conspiracy theories that.
Yeah, I know this is one of the conspiracies, of course. Okay, Mr. Rana, thank you very much for your time. So it's ending our show time, and thank you again for giving us a time, and definitely we'll keep in touch. And if there's any new issues, so we will talk regularly on your. I'll take your point of view on the Canadian politics. Thank you very much. Good night.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Good night.